So yesterday, Man United lost 3-2 to Brighton. I think that's the first time we conceded 3 goals in the game since last year. And to make it worse, it was in the first half and it's the second game of the season. 3 abysmal mistakes and we conceded 3 to Brighton. Now, I understand that Mourinho wanted centre-halves and it's evident that we need centre-halves. But either way, that's not an excuse. We shouldn't be conceding 3 to Brighton, a team which is most likely going to struggle to stay up. They couldn't even put 1 past Watford. But the main concerning thing is the reaction when we did go behind. When we went behind second half and even when we were 2-0 down, the reaction just didn't seem great. It just didn't seem like half the players were bothered, to be honest. Now, you look back to the Man City comeback we made. Everyone was up for that. As soon as we come out second half, just people seemed up for it. The players seemed up for it. Against Palace when we were behind and scored that last-minute winner, the players seemed up for it. This game, they did not, which is very, very concerning, and I do feel Mourinho has potentially lost the dressing room, or at least some players, such as Paul Pogba, who is a very influential figure in this club. But I'm not going to sit here and say I'm this Mourinho out propaganda. I didn't want him gone last season. I didn't want him gone before. I wanted the guy appointed, and to be honest, he deserved the right to have this season. We finished the highest we've ever finished since Ferguson. I know some people say, oh, we were quite lucky finishing second. Matter of fact is, we finished second. We got to an FA Cup final, we won a Europa League, and we won a Capital One Cup or Carabao Cup, whatever that trophy's called these days. We achieved those. Now, I know when you play the way Mourinho does, you expect to win trophies. If you don't win trophies, it's very frustrating. But put it this way, for the next manager in charge, Mourinho has left a better club than what he had when he took over from Louis van Gaal. But one thing I can't get my head over is Mourinho signed a new contract extension. What? It really does trigger me because I don't blame him for signing a contract extension. I wouldn't mind if the guy stayed, to be honest, as long as we were getting results and he got the players he wanted. But that's the key thing there. The players he wanted. Why did the board offer him a contract extension if we're not going to sign the players he wants? Why offer Mourinho something when you know he plays a certain way, you know he wants certain players? If we don't get him those certain players, you cannot expect results. I genuinely do believe Mourinho has taken this United team as far as he possibly can. Now, don't get me wrong, we have tremendous attackers. They are quality, every single one of them. They're very, very good and have a lot of potential. But defensively, it's fair to say we're still not great, to be honest. Therefore, for me, potentially believing Mourinho has taken us as far as he can, it's worrying, but I do believe in order for United to have a chance of any success, I genuinely believe we need a manager to get the most out of the front players and not care as much about the defensive display. Now, that's not saying I hate Mourinho's tactics, and it's not saying I want to play like Jurgen Klopp. I would love Mourinho to stay and us to continue playing the way we're playing and actually winning games. But what's the point? Mourinho's not known for being the greatest attacker in the world, especially when he doesn't have the players he wants. Now, at Chelsea, his team was phenomenal, scored a lot of goals, they were good going forward, but the type of players Mourinho has now, they're just not his type of players. Mourinho relies on having a solid defensive line. He relies on having good fullbacks. We didn't have good fullbacks, and we wanted to strengthen in defence, but Ed Woodward, for some reason, makes these decisions at the club. It genuinely is worrying that we could be going down the Arsenal route, and that's what I believe we're becoming. If Mourinho can't win a league title for us, realistically, what manager out there can? With how the way the club's ran at the moment, I don't see many managers out there who could win a league title, especially with this team. Now, people say, oh, Pep Guardiola, he would have won us a league right now. Ah, yeah, Pep Guardiola's the king of football. Now, don't get me wrong, tremendous manager, absolutely quality manager. But he would have got the most out of our attacking players, it's fair to say the least. But with Guardiola, he relies on being fully back. Now, I know some of you may be sitting there thinking, oh, you cannot go into this saying Mourinho hasn't been fully back. Now, let me just explain this. First of all, a lot of Mourinho's so-called signings, are they actually his? Now don't get me wrong, some of these players, I do believe that Mourinho did actually, if the board comes to him and says, for example, oh, do you want Romelu Lukaku? Mourinho's hardly going to say no to that because he's a quality striker. But how many of them were actually his signings? Now, the obvious ones are Mourinho signings are Matic, maybe Fred, Mkhitaryan, Bailly, Lindelof. They're the ones that you can potentially see are out-and-out Mourinho signings. But then you got the likes of Paul Pogba, which apparently the deal on bringing Pogba to United was being worked on when Moyes was in charge. That clearly shows Mourinho didn't have a say in that, and he just pretty much just got thrown Paul Pogba. Now, that's not to say Mourinho wouldn't appreciate a player like Paul Pogba, but it definitely is seeming that there's kind of a rift with those two. And the fact Mourinho never wanted him in the first place, it doesn't make things great. But then you've also got Alexis Sanchez. I think Mourinho accepted him, but I think it was mainly the board that pushed for it. You got Romelu Lukaku, because apparently when Paul Pogba was signing for United, I think it was Ed Woodward said to Lukaku, you're next. Now, this was after Mourinho's first season, so if he's saying you're next, I genuinely don't know how much Mourinho actually wanted Lukaku. I think he potentially wanted the guy, but I think it may be more the board pushing for it. And then you've also got Zlatan. I do believe Mourinho wanted Zlatan, but I also believe it was a move by the board in order to, make more money for the club. But that's the problem. The club's being run like a business, and the money just isn't being invested right. It's just being invested for commercial use, signing the likes of Paul Pogba and stuff. Now, they're incredible players, but you can't just keep signing those kind of players. You need other players. You need experience in the squad. You need just a decent player. You need a decent wide man. You need an experienced centre-half. We got none of them. Now it's obvious. When Mourinho goes, which he most likely will, he's going to get compared to Guardiola. Guardiola at City, Mourinho at United. Obvious Guardiola's going to win that comparison. But I don't believe you can actually compare them because it's not a fair playing field, to be honest. Now, I know a lot of you probably sitting there thinking, oh, you're just being the deluded fan. I genuinely don't believe I am. I'm just speaking what I feel is the correct opinion. Now, there may be deluded. If it's deluded, it's deluded, I guess. But looking at the players that were signed by both managers. Now, Mourinho has spent a lot of money. Yet again, debatable whether he actually wanted the players. Nonetheless, a lot of money has been spent while Mourinho has been manager. But you look at Guardiola. This guy is hardly innocent with his spending. When the guy took over, he had a much better team than Mourinho. He had Aguero, De Bruyne, Sterling, company. He had a quality core to that squad. United still had Fellaini in their midfield. The levels. But then you look at City signings. Mourinho wanted one winger. We didn't sign Perisic. We didn't sign Willian. You look at Man City. They've got Leroy Sané. They got Raheem Sterling. They got Bernardo Silva. They got Riyad Mahrez. Bernardo Silva and Riyad Mahrez would be in United's starting lineup. They're City's rotation players. And we don't even have a proper winger. They have backups on either wing. It's mental. That shows someone who's been fully back. But then you can also say, oh, Mourinho's been back with his defensive signings. Well, let me pull something up here. Since Pep Guardiola took over Man City, here are his defensive signings. Claudio Bravo, Danilo, Ederson, Walker, Stones, Mendy, Laporte. That equals €318.8 million. Correct me if I'm wrong, pretty sure that's true. Not to mention, they already had a player like Otamendi, don't get me wrong, wasn't great season before, but at Valencia I do believe he was a decent centre-half. And you got Vincent Kompany, someone with genuine experience of winning league titles and a world-class centre-back when he is fit. You look at Mourinho's defensive signings. You got Dalot, who's only just been signed, so I don't know if you can really compare him. You got Lindelof and Bailly. They're United's defensive signings, arguably Matic, but are not class in midfielders. So the main ones there, Lindelof and Bailly. Now, that was €95 million. Once again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure these are true based off a website called Transfer Market. Now, the often argument you hear is when people mention Mourinho's signings and they say, oh, he's just wasted money. Don't get me wrong, what we paid for Lindelof and Bailly is a lot. But people compare those two to what Guardiola has. At City, for one, He had Otamendi already, who starts pretty much every time he's fit for Guardiola, and you got Vincent Kompany. But then you look at the players they've signed. Bravo, where's he now? He's a bench warmer. I think he spent 18 million euros on that guy. Danilo doesn't play much. You got Walker, Stones, Mendy and Laporte. Altogether there, Stones, he plays quite frequently, same with Laporte, but you look at all that spent there. Guardiola has spent so much more. He spent more on fullbacks than United have on centre-halves. And when he's needed to replace them, he's replaced them. He already had Otamendi, Kompany, Stones. He went on to sign Laporte. But why can't United do that? Why don't we do that? And then we get criticised when Mourinho says we need more in defence because we spent so much on Lindelof and Bailly. Look how much City spent on their defensive line to get it right and get it perfect for Guardiola's system. If you want Mourinho, you need the players to play his system. Otherwise, what is the point in having him? He's going to win league titles if you get him the players for his system. Get him good fullbacks, get him good wide players, get him good centre-halves. Once he has a good defensive line, we're pretty much set to go. But we don't have the defensive line he wants. We still play Valencia right back and Young left back most of the time. Those two shouldn't be in the team. We have Jones, we have Smalling, we have Marcus Rojo. Now, you could say, oh, sell them. I don't know if the board actually wants to get rid of these guys, to be honest, because they've been around for years. And when you got Ed Woodward coming out saying, oh, there was 100 million for Varane, but we're not going to sign the likes of Toby Alderweireld, mainly Toby Alderweireld, we're not going to sign him because, one, there's no sell-on value to him, is an absolute joke. Who cares if there's no sell-on value? Surely making money by winning trophies would be good for the fans and would be good for the club. But I guess not in a business point of view. And then you've also got him saying the defenders Mourinho wanted weren't better than what we already have, which is it is simply phenomenal hearing that. Apparently Alderweireld, even though he may not have any sell-on value, wouldn't be an upgrade over the likes of Smalling and Jones. Why is that guy in charge of our signings over a football expert, Mourinho? If you bring Mourinho to the club, you back the guy. Back Mourinho. Oh, I don't know why we put him in charge. I don't have a clue why. Why did he come to us? I actually do feel quite sorry for the guy. Now, don't get me wrong, he could have got more out of the players, but he has made United a better team. He's made us more stable. For the next manager, they've got a lot more to work off than what he did. It's just kind of sad, to be honest, that it's coming to an end in this way, in the typical third season. So before we get into the last 2 points, I would like to apologise if this video seems a bit all over the place, but as I said, I'm just trying to speak it from raw emotion here, so yeah, chances are it could be all over the place. Apologies for that, but anyway, let's get into future managers for United, and some of these are laughable. Okay, now going on to the first manager who's potentially taking over, we got Zinedine Zidane. Now, the one thing I don't like about this is the rumours started before the season even started. So already you got a sense of players could be coming unsettled, knowing Mourinho's probably going to go. You got Mourinho becoming unsettled, knowing that he's going to get replaced. That's not the greatest start in the world, but how would Zidane do at United? Now, to be honest, out of all the managers linked, I think he would be my preferred choice. I don't think we're going to win the league under him. One, because I don't think he's going to get backed enough for it, and two, because I believe he's a better competition manager, so such as in the Champions League, in the FA Cup, in the Carabao Cup. I believe he'll do better in those. I don't know if in the league he's the greatest manager of doing it consistently over 38 games. Now, he did win a La Liga with Madrid, but then Barca also steamrolled away with a league title. So, still undecided on that, and Zidane had a quality team. Compared to United's team, just how well would he get them playing compared to what Mourinho would? That's the one question I have about Zidane. Next up then, we got Mauricio Pochettino. Now, I know he's a lot of people's favourite, but I worry if the club would appoint him. For many reasons, one of them being, I don't believe he's a serial winner. Yeah, I know you need to win. You need to win something, and then you can judge if they're going to go on and be successful. But I just don't think Poch is a serial winner. I think he'll win the odd FA Cup every now and then, but the fact he doesn't target them when he knows he's most likely not going to win the league or the Champions League, I don't really like. I want my manager to target everything and try to win as many trophies as possible. I don't know if Poch will do that. Then you got the argument that Spurs and United starting 11 aren't similar and Spurs is better. I do believe they're quite similar, but United did finish ahead of Spurs. I feel Poch has taken Spurs as far as he can. I don't know how far he could take United. And then you've also got Pochettino signings. Now, I know he doesn't get the most amount of money in the world, and he's very good at developing players, but the signings he's made, if he's made them, he may not be the one making them, could be the board, but with the amount of money he's been given, I expect it's him choosing the players. If it's not, then that's kind of wrong. But the signings he's made, they haven't been great. Sissoko, Lucas Moura, he's got a few others which have been decent, but those two being some of the standout, really bad ones. I just don't believe he's going to bring too much quality to United. I feel he'll work with what he's got, but with what we've got, is it enough? I don't know. And lastly, if we appointed Poch, I do believe that's going to make the board very complacent, and it's going to make United very complacent. We're going to be happy finishing top 4, and we're never really going to be pushing for league titles because Pochettino, I don't think he's going to out the board. I don't think he's going to criticise the board. I think he's just going to happily sit there and work with what he's got. He's done that at Spurs. He'll most likely do that at United. So I have a very, very bad feeling that United could become like Arsenal and just be happy with 4th and the odd FA Cup every now and then. Especially with Poch in charge, because whereas the likes of Zidane or Mourinho, I do believe they would publicly out the board, which isn't great, but at least it shows they're unhappy. I don't think Poch will do that. Then you got Diego Simeone. Now this one, I wouldn't mind him taking charge. I don't want Mourinho gone. I'm just putting that out there. You may be sitting there thinking, oh, you want Mourinho gone, yet you want Simeone. I don't want Mourinho gone. I'd be quite happy for him to stay. But if we were to get rid of Mourinho, Simeone's very good off working with a budget. So at United, he could do good things, but the only annoying thing about this is people want Mourinho gone. They want Simeone to replace him, but they say they want Mourinho gone because of the football we play. Simeone plays just as defensive football, if not more defensive, than Mourinho. Where is your logic here? They're the same people who wanted Van Gaal to replace Moyes, and when it went quite bad for Van Gaal, they wanted Mourinho to replace Van Gaal. Now it's going bad for Mourinho. They want Mourinho replaced for Simeone. Simeone doesn't do whatever they want to do, and then they want the next manager. These fans are so reactionary. It's very, very frustrating. Lastly, this is an odd shout. Arsene Wenger. The guy's still looking for a club. He won't challenge the board. He'd be happy to finish top 4, getting his paycheck. I don't think this is going to happen though, because he's a legend at Arsenal. So if he came to United, don't know how that will go down. But I do not want Arsene Wenger anywhere near United. In fairness, I don't think this has been mentioned at all, but I have a very worrying feeling that there is a possibility. Hopefully not though. Hopefully I'm just being stupid. But finally, when will Mourinho go? If we're going to get rid of him, in my opinion, it has to be within the next 2 weeks to the next month. If it's any later, chances are we're ruining us even getting in the top 4. And we need Champions League football at a bare minimum. So if Mourinho is to go within the next month, do I want him to go? No, I don't. I hope he can turn it around. And I hope he lasts the full season. And then he can just decide at the end of the season what he's going to do. But I hope the board doesn't leave it too late if they are considering getting rid of Mourinho, because that will just only make the club in a much worse state than what it already is. But anyway, they're my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about all this mess if you're a United fan. If you're a Liverpool fan, a City fan, Chelsea fan or Arsenal fan, yeah, I don't really know what to say, to be honest. Please don't roast me in the comments. Already been roasting after losing 3-2 to Brighton. I don't need any more. But anyway, remember to subscribe if you're new around here. And until next time, have a nice day and I'm out. Adios.